The spectrum of sexual offenses represents a serious societal concern, encompassing a range of acts that violate an individual's sexual autonomy and safety. These offenses are not only criminal acts, but also deeply personal violations that can leave lasting scars on the victims. These offenses can include rape, sexual assault, child sexual abuse, indecent exposure, and other forms of non-consensual sexual behavior. Additionally, possession of child pornography, among other related crimes, falls under this spectrum. The impact of sexual offenses on victims can be devastating, leading to long-term physical, emotional, and psychological trauma. Victims often require extensive support and therapy to begin the healing process. Understanding the nature of sexual offenses requires acknowledging their complexity and the diversity of individuals who commit them. Offenders come from various backgrounds and have different motivations. It's crucial to avoid generalizations and recognize that each case is unique, with its own set of contributing factors and consequences. This uniqueness necessitates tailored approaches to both prevention and intervention. The legal definitions and classifications of sexual offenses vary across jurisdictions, but they generally share the common element of non-consensual sexual acts. Understanding these legal nuances is essential for proper adjudication. Effective prevention and intervention strategies necessitate a nuanced understanding of the psychological underpinnings of sexual offending, including the mental health issues that may drive such behaviors. The factors that contribute to recidivism, or the likelihood of reoffending, must also be considered in developing effective strategies. And the effectiveness of various treatment approaches. These approaches can range from cognitive behavioral therapy to more comprehensive rehabilitation programs, aiming to reduce the risk of future offenses. Inside the mind of a sexual offender, unraveling the psychological complexity. This journey takes us deep into the labyrinth of human behavior and mental processes. Contrary to popular belief, there is no single psychological profile that fits all sexual offenders. They are not a monolithic group. They come from all walks of life, socioeconomic backgrounds, and educational levels. This diversity makes it challenging to pinpoint a universal profile. However, research has identified certain psychological characteristics and risk factors that are more prevalent among individuals who engage in sexually abusive behaviors. These factors provide some insight into their complex minds. These include cognitive distortions, such as minimizing the harm caused to victims or blaming the victim for their own abuse. These distorted thoughts can significantly impact their actions. Other common traits include difficulties with empathy, intimacy, and emotional regulation, as well as a distorted view of sex and relationships. These issues often complicate their interactions with others. It's important to note that possessing these characteristics does not automatically make someone a sexual offender. Many people with these traits lead law-abiding lives. Many individuals with these traits never engage in sexually abusive behavior. They may struggle with other issues but do not cross that line. However, understanding these underlying psychological factors is crucial for developing effective treatment and risk assessment tools. This knowledge helps professionals create better intervention strategies. Beyond the stereotypes, debunking common myths about sexual offenders. Public perception of sexual offenders is often shaped by stereotypes and misinformation, which can hinder efforts to address this complex issue. These misconceptions can lead to ineffective policies and a lack of support for victims. One common myth is that sexual offenders are always strangers who jump out of bushes. This image is perpetuated by media and movies, creating a false sense of security about the real risks. In reality, most sexual offenses are committed by someone known to the victim, such as a family member, friend, or acquaintance. This makes it even more challenging for victims to come forward and seek help. Another misconception is that sexual offenders are easily identifiable by their appearance or demeanor. People often believe that offenders look a certain way, which is far from the truth. In truth, sexual offenders often appear normal and blend in with society, making it difficult to detect their potential for harm. They can be anyone from any walk of life, which is why awareness and vigilance are crucial. It's essential to challenge these stereotypes and rely on evidence-based information to inform our understanding of sexual offenders and the risks they pose. This approach helps in creating more effective prevention and intervention strategies. By dispelling myths and promoting accurate information, we can create a safer society for all. Education and awareness are key in protecting potential victims and ensuring justice for those affected. The role of empathy in sexual offending. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, plays a crucial role in inhibiting harmful behaviors, including sexual violence. Individuals who lack empathy may have difficulty recognizing the pain and suffering they inflict on others, making them more likely to engage in exploitative or abusive acts. Research suggests that sexual offenders often exhibit deficits in empathy, particularly affective empathy, which involves experiencing the emotions of another person. They may be able to understand the cognitive aspects of empathy, such as recognizing that their actions are causing pain, but they struggle to genuinely feel the victim's distress. This lack of emotional connection allows them to detach from the consequences of their actions and minimize the harm they have caused. A multifaceted approach: treatment and rehabilitation for sexual offenders. Treating sexual offenders is a complex and challenging process that requires a multifaceted approach tailored to the individual's specific needs and risk factors. There is no one-size-fits-all solution, and effective treatment often involves a combination of therapies and interventions. The primary goals of sex offender treatment are to reduce recidivism risk, enhance public safety, and promote the offender's rehabilitation. This involves addressing underlying psychological issues, such as cognitive distortions, empathy deficits, and deviant sexual arousal patterns. Treatment programs may also focus on developing healthy coping mechanisms, improving interpersonal skills, and fostering accountability and responsibility for their actions. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is a widely used and evidence-based treatment approach for sexual offenders. CBT focuses on identifying and changing the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that contribute to offending behavior. Offenders learn to recognize and challenge distorted thinking patterns, such as minimizing the harm they have caused or blaming the victim. They also develop skills for managing anger, stress, and other emotions that can trigger abusive behavior. CBT may also involve relapse prevention strategies, which help offenders identify high-risk situations and develop coping mechanisms to avoid reoffending. The power of group therapy: breaking down denial and building accountability. Group therapy plays a crucial role in sex offender treatment by providing a supportive and structured environment for offenders to confront their behavior and take responsibility for their actions. Group settings allow offenders to challenge each other's distortions, hold each other accountable, and learn from each other's experiences. The group dynamic can also foster empathy development, as offenders witness the impact of their actions on others and begin to understand the ripple effects of their crimes. Medication in sex offender treatment addressing underlying mental health issues. In some cases, medication may be used as an adjunct to therapy in sex offender treatment. This is particularly relevant for offenders who have co-occurring mental health disorders, such as depression, anxiety, or personality disorders. Medications can help manage these conditions and improve the offender's overall mental stability, making them more receptive to therapy and reducing the risk of reoffending. Recidivism rates: understanding the risk factors. Recidivism, the tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend, is a major concern in the context of sexual offenses. While recidivism rates for sexual offenses vary depending on factors such as the type of offense and the characteristics of the offender, research suggests that sexual offenders generally have lower recidivism rates compared to other types of offenders. However, it's crucial to recognize that even a single instance of reoffending can have devastating consequences for victims and their families. Understanding the factors that contribute to recidivism is essential for developing effective risk assessment tools and targeted interventions. Preventing future harm strategies for reducing recidivism. Preventing sexual offenses and reducing recidivism requires a multi-pronged approach that addresses individual, societal, and systemic factors. Effective prevention strategies include promoting healthy sexual attitudes and behaviors, teaching children about body safety and boundaries, and creating supportive environments where victims feel safe to disclose abuse. Early intervention programs for youth who exhibit concerning sexual behaviors can also be effective in preventing future offending. Additionally, Addressing societal factors that contribute to sexual violence, such as gender inequality and the normalization of harmful masculinity, is crucial for creating a culture of respect and consent. Conclusion: a call for continued research and understanding. Sexual offending is a complex and multifaceted issue that demands a nuanced and evidence-based approach. While significant progress has been made in understanding the psychological underpinnings of sexual offending, the development of effective treatment and prevention strategies, and the identification of risk factors for recidivism, continued research and collaboration are essential. By challenging stereotypes, promoting accurate information, and advocating for evidence-based policies, we can work towards creating a safer society for all. Subscribe and don't forget to take care of yourselves. Goodbye.